Alright guys, hope you're all doing well. Welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be Khorne led by Charix facing off against Kislev, who shall be helmed by Lord Chickenfeed here on Borderlow Landing. And Khorne is going to be coming in with a sniping build, which I think is quite cool. So basically you have Khorne's best doggo, Khorne, who does have the Prey of the Blood God ability, which is a 3-use snare, so you have 3 snares. They last 22 seconds, which is very, very long for snares, so really good at taking down ice witches, or even, more powerful combat characters like an ice witch on a dragon, as well as a character like Boris, for example. You can snare them down, get Minotaurs, and get your other powerhouses on top of them. So Khorne is going to be teaming up with the Herald of Khorne. Herald of Khorne is pretty heavy metal here, and the Bulldog mount is a little bit unusual compared to the Chariot, but it makes him more of a duelist type character, and he still, of course, has the Tormentor sword, which is why you bring him. Skulltaker is generally a more meta pick these days, or at least was. Things have changed a little bit after his nerf, but getting that Tormentor sword is often worth it. Very, very good against mobility factions like Kislev as well. So Marauders and Marauders and Marauders, and Bloodbeasts. So Bloodbeasts are a good generalist unit. They're good against infantry and they're good against cavalry, whereas the Minotaurs of Khorne are more specialized, anti-large, anti-infantry, etc., etc. So bringing these is a bit of a safe bet. Granted, they do have 40 armor, so if you get shot by missiles, they have a very, very bad time. Khorngor in the Vanguard, pretty much an auto tactic, I think, from Khorne, especially on this map. Like, just having that halberd unit on your opponent's back objective that's difficult to remove is so annoying. So I really, really do like that by Charix. Now, looking at the armies of the Great Chickenfeed. Now, these are 2 championship level players. Charix just won his first championship recently, his first major event with the Creative Assembly official. And Lord Chickenfeed had won one of those a while back. I think maybe a year or so ago, give or take. So yeah, both very, very high level players here. So Boris is not bad in this matchup. Anti-large, he can fight Skulltaker very effectively. He can fight the greater demons. He does magic damage, has frostbite, is a beast of a fighter. And the rest of the army is going to be halberds with a Ice Witch of Deathfrost. So really going for sniping against Khorne despite the magic res. Yeah, pretty chad. And an auto take unit, in my opinion. I love the Wolfhearts. I think they're so good in most every matchup. Just having that snare ability, even though it's only 10 seconds, is still so good. And it also lowers vigor, which is something people don't really consider. So, pretty neat, and I think that's it. Yeah, so just Kossars with halberds, and then Boris, some horse archers, and Ice Witch there to party as well. Got to be careful with that Ice Witch, though. I don't know if I like that positioning. It's very, very dangerous here, and I think that maybe the Prey of the Blood God's going to be activated here, but, oh, interesting choice. So snares down Boris, and actually allows the Ice Witch to be isolated here, so she's in the wrong neighborhood right now, taking a massive amount of damage right there, and Khorne is such a good dog. And he's going to be moving in. Boris is trapped up by Khorne, and wow, what a nice play there by Charix. Is the Ice Witch going to be able to get away? The Bulldog character's in, and he punts her a little bit far away into the halberds. So maybe the Doggo is going to continue, and we are going to be seeing the Herald of Khorne using Foe Seeker to get away from Boris. That's so funny. So yeah, just wheeling out, being like, you got this, little guy. Khorne is a lot more expensive than the Ice Witch, though, so if Khorne were to fall as a result of this deep dive here, that would not be worth it. So Khorne is going to be able to get away. He doesn't have any way to heal, though. So at the end of the day, I don't know. That might have actually been a bit of a win for Kislev. It was a very, very slick play, though, nonetheless. I thought that was kind of cool there. And we do see the Wolfhearts coming up. A pack trap could have led to the doom. So if the archers had been in a slightly better position for Lord Chickenfeed, they might have been able to punish Khorne there and get a nice pick. And the rest of the Khorne army waiting in the wings, Marauders and Bloodbeasts and halberds in the trees, waiting to pop out. It does look like Lord Chickenfeed is aware of the halberds lurking in the bushes, so he is privy to that, and he has a couple of horse archers there waiting, and also some Kislevite warriors. So I think, who'd they win in that fight? No, the Khorngor probably wins. It just has a higher stat line. It's got a lot more abilities, frenzy, all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, Khorngors are a couple hundred more gold than a Kislevite warrior, so it does make some sense. All right, guys. On the back, we do see more armored Kossars being called in. Boris going to be chilling in the back, while the Ice Witch going to be very, very careful with her near-death experience at the hands of Khorne here. Khorne's Blood Howl ability might be coming off cooldown soon. His snare, which again could be used to try and isolate Boris and get a 2v1, backed up by some Bloodbeast. We'll have to see. So Charix saving up a hell of a lot of resources. I wonder what he's going to be doing. It could be a Mass Fury call-in. That's sometimes an option, or of course mobility and just wait. And it is going to be Wrathmongers. Yeah, Wrathmongers are great against Kislev. You don't want to be fighting them with any of your melee units, really. Kislev can shoot them down with Streltsy. Little Groms are pretty good against them, too. They do, of course, have the built-in Khorne spell resist of 35%, which was a really nice change. It didn't used to be that way when Game 3 first came out, and then we kind of lobbied for it, and it was something CA did do, which was good. I think something similar needs to be done for Nurgle. Like, Nurgle should have some sort of a missile resist, I think, on their units. Like, somebody on stream had a really good idea, actually. It was basically when Nurgle is out of combat, they get missile resist, and when they're in combat, they get, like, melee defense or something. Like they already do, like Cloud of Fives. But have it be, like, a faction-wide thing. The melee defense can even be very low, like +2 or something. But having, like, 10-15% missile resist when out of combat, that could be enough to put Nurgle in, decent territory in some matchups in which they usually get shit on. All right, so the Frost Maiden here is getting snared down once again by Prey of the Blood God. And, oh, look at such a good dog. He's so good. He gets in there, and the Ice Witch is not long for this world. At 7 HP, she does go down to the Bang Hounds of Khorne. And if Karanak can get away from that, not terrible. Tormentor Sword activated, Charx with a very slick Zoomer micro right there. Meanwhile, in the back, the Khorngors waiting to capture that objective when they can. And Charx playing a very, very patient game here, skirmishing away from these units. And the Ice Witch can just be resummoned, though. It's not a terribly expensive thing. The Ice Witch with one spell is going to be like 600 gold, so really, really not that problematic, but still wouldn't be a terrible time to move in and engage while the Wizard is offline. But yeah, now we see heavy hitters coming in. Now, this is one of the best things about playing against Khorne, is Khorne is a faction that doesn't have magic except the Sword of Khorne, of course, that nukes your elite infantry. So elite infantry are actually pretty good against Khorne, generally speaking. Zargard on their way up. And in the woods, we do see some more, some Bloodletters coming on the outside. Interesting. So he's going to be trying to overwhelm that outside objective. So it's very clear that Khorne basically wants to move up through the bushes here with 2 infantry units and push the front and the sides all at the same time. But doubled Zargard Grey Open is going to be very, very tough to break, ladies and gentlemen. In the back, we get Heralds of Khorne's Fury coming out, a unit that, if microed correctly, can be very, very devastating against Kislev infantry. It does have 60 AP, bonus versus infantry of 18, which is pretty thick, big melee attack, and does also have 100 armor, which against like the small arms fire of Kislev is incredibly relevant. All right, the Horn of War has been sounded. Look at this. We even have some Blood Beasts of Khorne and Marauders on the outside of the formation as the Ice Witch, her sister, has been called in to replace her and, wants a little bit of revenge here. As we do see the Horsemen being pushed back a little bit. Karanak waiting, maybe looking to get a snare. Foe Seeker activated on Karanak, which is pretty funny. Basically just trying to bait out some fire or maybe a charge from Boris. Wrathmongers as well. I mean, there's some scary old units in here for the Blood God. And ladies and gentlemen, looks like we're about to have a knockdown drag-out fight here in the middle as Karanak is going to be summoning his Hound units. So the feast is on. The doggies have been released, and he's probably going to send those into the backfield to try and shut down some archers, while the Marauders of Khorne, the Barbarians of the North, have arrived in the front line. Wrathmongers going to be piling in to help out as well. And the Kislev Halberds are not going to be happy about this fighting. They lose pretty badly to Marauders. And look at that, Herald of Khorne going for it. Tormentor Sword on Boris. But Boris is going to be responding most likely with his Shard Blade, as well as some other items. We'll have to see. And the 2v1 on Boris, pretty scary. We're going to see if he's going to be able to turn the tide of the fight. Meanwhile, on the outside, we see the Bloodletters and the Halberds engaging. And we also do see the Heralds of Khorne's Fury coming in to smash those armored Kossars. But look at this, Boris Ursus, an absolute Giga Chad, able to actually maybe take down Karanak here. He's got Karanak very, very low, while the Prey of the Blood God activated once again on the Ice Witch. Oh no, the Karanak going in for the kill on the Ice Witch round 2. All right, on this side, beautiful snare activated. So Kislev using its combined arms here, its pack trap, to snare down the Heralds of Khorne's Fury. Now they're going to be charging through a tree line, which isn't great for them, but even still, they will do some good damage against the Kossars in sustained combat. And the Halberds are going to need to get involved in that combat right there. But look at Karanak, round 2, taking down the Frost Maiden, man. Absolutely savage. And that Wizard, I mean, Khorne really, really hates Wizards. And if this game is an illustration of anything, it is that fact. So Wrathmongers pushing up with the Blood Beasts of Khorne, and Bloodletters also coming around the flank. And they're going to be trading uber effectively here. Although some of the Blood Beasts do get hammered down by Griffin Legion, and Blood Beasts are very weak against Shock Cab. They have very low melee defense. And the high charge bonus of these Griffin Legion in tandem with their great stats is going to lead to the demise of these Blood Beasts on the flank. Elsewhere in combat, Boris using the Fury of Urson, but he's a little bit surrounded by enemies. The Blood Beasts of Khorne as well as the Herald are teaming up on him a little bit. And on the outside, Kislev able to reform the ranks a little bit and stabilize, as we do see the Heralds of Khorne's Fury kind of being dragged down just by hybrid shooting and low quality units there. The Zargard with Great Weapons chasing down the Bloodletters here, while these Armored Kossars are going to be putting what firepower down they can to try and help. So Boris running away a little bit, Blood Beast running into combined arms fire. On the flank, Marauders coming in, and Wrathmongers also going to be piling into that center fight. But Boris definitely needs to rethink his engagements here. He's very low. Does have 1,200 value, though, so not terrible. So the mighty Polish cavalry do arrive. The Winged Lancers get in. Relentless Rage on the Marauders, kind of cool, making them unbreakable. Probably better just to save up. I mean, that's a very flashy play, but I think it's probably better just to save up for the big Sword of Khorne against Kislev, just like hammer down the Wolf Arch or something, but, not the worst either. All right, so Marauder Horsemen are in the mix. Throwing Axe is going to be very, very good. Marauders and Wrathmongers at the ready, General. Meanwhile, on the other side, these Zargard are just getting Benny Hilled by the demons. Imagine a Khorne demon just like being like, all right, guys, we're going to use our kiting tactics now. But the Zargard will, get casualties on them as they do chase them. Khorngors here are going to be losing to Armored Kossars. The Halberds aren't super excellent against infantry, but they can do what they can. Great Weapons coming in. Looks like some loose skirmish cab on the way as well. And Khorne is definitely pushing Kislev off the points here. Khorne does have objective 2 and 3, their home objective. as the Hounds of the Blood Hunt do arrive, chewing down some of the range units here. But there is a little bit of a opportunity for Kislev to farm on the defense here, right? Like, as you're extended deeper and deeper into enemy lines like this, the Shock Cavalry are going to become so good as they just pop out and flatline infantry here. These Bloodletters are going to be crumbled probably in a matter of seconds. And the Herald of Khorne, how's he doing? He's sitting at about half health. Boris with 1200 HP could still do some work. These Wrathmongers definitely need to be kited. Things in the woods are pretty good against them. Obviously, some of the big monsters can counter Wrathmongers as well. And Zargard with Great Weapons will trade incredibly well against Wrathmongers, but I don't know if we're going to be seeing any of those. So Bloodletter's getting crumbled, and the Kislev Cav really showing their mettle here in the late game, as they do manage to push back against some of the Khornate demons and the monstrous mutants here. I don't think that Blood Beasts are actually demonic. No, they're not. And getting charged by the cavalry, going to force them back. More Blood Beasts coming in. And look at this, we have a duel. Boris is using the Fury of Urson here to get the big old buff. But is it going to be enough, or is he going to be taken down by the Herald of Khorne? Herald of Khorne sitting at about 1700, and Boris is going to be breaking. Honestly, if he didn't break, he might have been able to fight and win that. But the break is going to be costing him, and Boris Ursus is going to be karate chopped by the Herald of Khorne. So down goes the Red Tsar. Will the Kislevite people avenge their fallen lord? Find out in today's episode of Dragon Ball Z. So the Zargard Great Weapons still kind of rampaging about. And do we have another one on the battlefield? I could have sworn there was two of them. One of them might have gotten taken out at this point in the game. And we do see the Kislevites. A couple of them are wavering back here with the defeat of the Red Tsar. But some Griffin Legion certainly will be nice on the cycle charging. And the Zargard Great Weapons could start to grind this game back for Kislev here, for sure. 79 models of 80, really good combat power. And they're going to be able to chew through the Wrathmongers most likely. Meanwhile, in the backfield, Kislev Dervishes finishing up Blood Beasts. And Horse Archers moving in just to try and contest the objective here a little bit. Tricky game, though. It's a close fight, man. Knockdown, drag out. Really good match between these two players. Looking at the points, they're very close. Currently, we do see Lord Chicken Feed, of course, only on one objective. He does have the points lead for now because Khorne sat back for a long time in the beginning of the game, but I don't know. It's still really tight in value. And neither side really has healing. I don't think we have any of the healing Khorne units, like the the Blood Feast or Gore Feast. We're not seeing any of that. Dervishes should be able to finish off the beast here. Now the Zargard going to be trying to put this game on their back. They failed to defend the Tsar in his life, and now maybe they will avenge him in death as they get into the Wrathmongers and are fighting a very hard fight. But that bonus versus infantry is no joke, and a very cool cinematic fight here as we have the elites of two factions grinding it out. Kislev does have the Akshina Wolfarts also shooting in, and that's going to help them win that fight, as it does look like the Wrathmongers are on the precipice of breaking, about to be rear charged by Horse Archers. Not that they'll do a lot of damage, but it will help break the leadership. The rear charge there. But yeah, Wrathmongers are absolute linebackers. Nurgle really needs something like that. Putrid Blight Kings, sign me up, dog. Give me Putrid Blight Kings. Make them as good as Wrathmongers, and we'll call it a day. We'll call it even at that point. All right, guys. Kislev Dervishes fighting very well. A very solid light cavalry unit with their unbreakable trait. And Khorne kind of looking a little bit haggard on the ground, right? We have a couple of Horse Archers for them, but aside from that, not a whole lot else. They're going to need to call in some infantry killing power here, and Bloodletters are an excellent choice. And if you had Exalted Bloodletters, it'd be even better. Looks like he's going to be diving to the back objective here, while the Zargard and the Armored Kossars and more Kislevite warriors going to be surging up to the middle. And that Herald of Khorne, not super healthy. He's only got about 1,000 HP. Would die to a stiff breeze. If he got caught in some of the infantry units, he would get folded very quickly. Armored Kossars here. These ones should probably be unsummoned. That would be the correct play there. All right, so the Fleshhounds of Khorne getting broken. Halberd unit's going to be engaging versus the Marauders, while Kislev is going to be surging forth. And they're only down by like 15, 16 points. Khorne just passed them in points here, but is Khorne going to fight over the middle? Probably the right idea. Tormentor Sword activated there. Not a bad idea. It's a healthy Horse Archer unit, and that Horse Archer unit about to get crumped pretty badly. No, he actually decides to go elsewhere with the Marauder Horsemen. Could have charged in and maybe bunker busted them, but deciding he wants to get the throwing weapons here onto the Kislev units and try and keep them in check. On the backside, Heralds of Khorne Fury coming out. Even though they are anti-infantry, they still are pretty good against armored cavalry, just with their general stats and their armor piercing, so those guys should perform relatively well. Over here, the Horse Archer unit does get karate chopped, but by our blood, the Kislevites fighting to the bitter end to defend the homeland. As on the backside, we do see more Armored Kossars coming in, and for Khorne, probably going to be infantry. Yeah, we do see Marauders of Khorne coming out, Bloodletters as well. But going to be very tough to shift, ladies and gentlemen, as we do see Kislev getting the double cap here, so they are going to be able to catch up in points, depending on if Khorne is able to get their back objective here, which they might be able to. I mean, we have a Bloodletter unit here, which is very healthy. We have the Herald of Khorne. The Heralds of Khorne's Fury also in the middle, going to be very devastating, as Charix does get a beautiful charge right there, able to rampage in and rip and tear very effectively, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, this is a huge win for Khorne right here. This Herald of Khorne with the Horn of Khorne, man, they're good against all these units. And if Khorne manages to flip that back objective, that's going to be very big. But very good veteran play from Lord Chicken Feed. parking a classified dervish here. So that's going to be 4 capture weight and plus another batch from the horse archers, which will out-capture the bloodletters of Khorne back there. So brilliant, brilliant stuff from both sides, honestly. So the Bulldog Cavalry tearing up the Zargard, but the Kislevite Warrior Halberds will change the paradigm of that fight. The Halberds will drag down many of these demons if they decide to stay in combat, so the correct play here for Charax is to try and avoid that combat. Middle objective still owned by Kislev, as we do see several units coming in, Bloodletters and Marauders. And to the backside, the demons do get disintegrated. Big charge coming in from the Winged Lancers and the Dervishes, able to overwhelm those Bloodletters. And that is potentially a game-winning play for Kislev right there. That was pretty massive. But now they're going to have to hold on to the middle, as we do see Kislev passing his opponent in points. So Khorne has lost the lead once again. Kislevite Warriors going to be moving in. And this mobility core is going to be very big. Very, very big. But yeah, this Cav unit still going. Absolute machine. Herald of Khorne sitting at 700 HP. Halberd's going to be coming back here to try and screen them out. While the Horsemen of Khorne trying to sit on the objective, which should be chased down by the Kosovo Dervishes. And the Zargard Grey opens good decision-making from Lord Chickenfeed. Going to be sending them to the middle objective here to make sure the Marauders and the other demonic units coming in don't get that capture. These Halberds probably need to go to the middle objective. Kislev can't really afford to lose a point. I mean, at a point you can, obviously, but here it's just way too close. Way, way too close. So Halberds dragging down the big old demons, and the Herald of Khorne just Benny Hilling around the map, being shot by some of the small arms fire of the Kossars. And a Zargard Grey Open going to be hustling up to the middle objective. Really, really needs to send this Halberd to the middle. And I think Lord Chickenfeed just realizes this and sends it over to objective 2. We're going to see if it gets there in time, though. It's going to be very, very dodgy. On the back, some Kosovite Dervishes on their way in. The Bulldog Cavalry microing super sweaty. And the Wrathmonger is still going strong, sitting at about 2,000 value. So they've always been good against Kislev. They're weak against like Little Groms and maybe Streltsy, but everything else they kind of just beat down. It's very, very tough to handle. So Kislev Halberds anchoring the backfield while the Zargard here trying to hold the middle, but they're just simply outnumbered. And looking at the point situation, oh man, is this, yeah, it's really, really tight, man. We'll assess the points here in just a moment. As we do get Khorne Gores coming to the back objective, the Kislevite Warriors going to be very happy with this fight. We do have 2 Kislevite Warriors sandwiching in. Middle objective is going to be yielded, while the Zargard going to be trying to engage against Bloodletters. And the Bloodletters with the charge should win that. Looks like they're going to be turning around, getting their charge, maybe. The Zargard Grey opens very, very low at this point, as another Zargard going to be heading over to the middle. So as it currently stands, Charax does win on just the 2 objectives. It's literally by a couple of points, and Kislev might be able to get the middle back using their Zargard here, considering the Herald of Khorne is now dead. And he's going to be able to, move all his units over to the middle objective. You definitely want to leave one unit. We obviously have God Vision, so we do know that the Khorne Gores are coming that way, but yeah, man, really, really nice match. So moving up, our Zargard and some Winged Lancers. Yeah, really, really nice. Winged Lancers going to be excellent at bunker and busting these guys, but homie's got to get that objective very, very quick. He does not have much time. So that's going to be 5 capture weight, plus it's going to be 4, which is going to be pretty much the same capture weight as what's on the objective. So he's going to need to break him, and here comes the big charge for Kislev. A little bit of a funky one right there. Kind of looked like maybe the charge order was a little bit off, but he does get in, and Hound's coming in. I think Charax has got this one in the bag. Just barely, man. It is super, super close. All right, Kislev Warriors coming, and that means he's going to have until the last second to get the objective back, right? Zargard Grey opens, pushing off the Marauders, while the Winged Lancer is going to be trying to fend off the doggies. On the backside, we do see some Khorne Gores, which is really good because it's forcing Lord Chickenfeed to keep some units back there. Now, their Dervish on the way in. Kislev definitely has the killing power here in this particular fight, as the Warriors do arrive up on the objective, but is it going to be quick enough? Marauders do get broken back, and the Fleshhound's kind of getting hammered as well. Oh man, this is really close, ladies and gentlemen. This is really, really close. Kislev does have a massive capture weight advantage, and a couple Horse Archers are going to be coming in as well. Look at the points. Oh my god, look at the points. I think Khorne just barely clinches this game with some Marauders coming in here, and yeah, that's going to be a victory for the Blood God. What a great match, and that's what happens when you have 2 champion-level players playing. You get the good epic matches like that. I think my favorite element of that match was how awesome his Karanak play was. Even though it was a little bit risky and he kind of got punished a couple times for it, I loved the snares and like the wizard sniping. It was so clean. And yeah, the Herald did really good. I mean, Boris definitely did not help out much that game. The Khorne characters and heroes really outshone the Kislev ones there. Yeah, Wrathmongers did great. Heralds of Khorne's Fury, so-so. They were summoned twice, so nothing too obscene there. And what did well for Kislev? I just think, yeah, the Pack Trap guys did good. Some of the rank and file did fine. Obviously, the heavy cavalry are always pretty effective, right? 1,800 and 1,400 there is not bad at all. Zargard, big performers as well. One of them didn't do so well. I guess maybe it was summoned and then died. Came back in the end game, I think. But the other one did fine at 1,200. GG, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. We'll see you around. Take care of yourselves. And great game by Charax and Lord Chickenfeed. See you guys around.